In other words, those of us who are leaders in the community, whether it's a religious leader, educational leader, an inspirational leader, entertainment leader, whatever that leader is, we need to have a messaging that all our leaders share as part of our protocol.
Stay fly. You're listening to The Fly Guy Show. They do everything on the fly and in such a fly manner. Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
After all that party, the views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree, unless explicitly stated.
Hey, this is Ernie Thomas here on the Bold School Podcast. You're listening to Seko Varner's Fly Guy Podcast. Support, like, subscribe, and share. He's saying some good things. Share it. Don't keep it to yourself.
This has been a pretty challenging day for me. Possibly for many of you as well. It's time for a protocol. It's time for a protocol. So, there was a time in my life when I was young, when my parents took me to church, and they told me the rules. They told me what to do, what not to do when we walk into this church. And for some reason, I decided to do quite the opposite of what I was told not to do. And they responded in a manner that let me know that what I was doing was not acceptable. It was unacceptable. Their response compelled me to change my behavior. Their response compelled me to change my behavior. It's protocol time. So when there's an issue that happens numerous times, a smart organization, a smart family, a smart body, smart entity will develop a protocol to handle when that expected, unacceptable issue happens. Policies and procedures, a protocol. We know that this is going to happen. And when this happens, when we're going to respond in this manner. So I say now it's time for a local, a statewide, and a national protocol to address issues that we have with certain agencies. Philando Castile happened in Minnesota. Philando Castile happened in the same state as George Floyd. Now, interestingly enough, what we have here are National Guardsmen who were sent to protect the home of one of the officers, the officer who had his knee in the neck of George Floyd. So the American government has a protocol when they know there's going to be a civil disruption, a civil eruption. Our brave members of the National Guard are sent out to make sure they quell that issue. There's a protocol there. Interestingly enough, it looks like the American government has decided that this officer's life is extremely valuable, when this officer didn't think that George Floyd's life or safety was extremely valuable. When you take custody of something or somebody, it implies you're keeping it safe. When something's taken into custody, we have it safe, locked away. Nobody can mess with it. It won't get harmed because we're going to have to produce it at another time. When you take custody of a child, you become a caretaker. When you take custody, you become a caretaker. If that entity, that child, that person is hurt under your caretaking, you get charged with a crime. You get charged with a crime. Unless you're part of protected class. Now, it's important to note that public gestures and rallies and marches and protests are a part of a successful campaign for change, demonstrating that you find something that you find, or we find, or you plural have found that something is unacceptable is part of a campaign for change. People often go back to the 60s with some of the civil rights protests. Now, America has a long history of protests and uprisings and rallies and destructive acts, mostly done by our other family members. But our family is known for the civil rights protests and such. But that was only a part of a larger protocol. That was only a part of a larger plan. I hear a number of us saying that we need to get out the streets now. We got to stop that. We got to do something different. That's a part of a larger initiative. So I salute those in the streets. But it can't end there. It can't end there. Showing dissatisfaction is a part of a campaign for change. I mean, we need a protocol because our interest, even though we're telling up front, hey, we need to be treated with freedom, justice, and equality and equal protection under the law, for some reason, it's not being heard as well as it needs to be heard. The Minneapolis police officer at the center of George Floyd's death had a history of complaints, and he was never disciplined. Possibly because he was the enforcer. Possibly because he was the enforcer. See, they weren't trying to protect and serve. They were trying to enforce. Possibly. But, so, while there were multiple complaints on police overreach, on police conduct with this officer, he was never disciplined. Oh, you ain't listening to us? You're going to hear us now. You're going to learn today. You're following through. To be the subject of a dozen complaints over a 2-decade career would appear a little higher than normal, says Milan Mason, a retired Minneapolis Park police officer and longtime police training expert for the state of Minnesota at a technical college. But anyone can file a complaint against an officer, whether or not it's valid, and officers might be subject to more complaints if they deal with the public more often. Either way, an officer's disciplinary record will be up to scrutiny in any legal proceedings. Let me highlight something. Anyone can file a complaint against an officer. Anyone can file a complaint against an officer. Anyone can file, I don't need to say it 3 times. An investigation is being led by the FBI. It's time for protocol. So we know something's going to happen continuously. It's time for a protocol. And our protocol should have a couple of platforms. One platform will be a social media platform where that platform will have what we're going to share, what we're going to send out on social media. Everything does not need to go out on social media. Everything does not need to go out on social media. There's certain things we need to promote on social media and certain things we don't in our empowerment agenda if we're going to stay on code. Certain things we need to stop doing. A leadership response is another platform. In other words, those of us who are leaders in the community, whether it's a religious leader, educational leader, an inspirational leader, entertainment leader, whatever that leader is, we need to have a messaging that all our leaders share as part of our protocol. There needs to be an economic response part of our platform. There's certain things we need to fund and defund. And we need to have a political part of our platform, of our protocol. And that's, what are we going to compel our seated politicians to do? What are we going to compel our seated politicians to do? Those who are already seated. We need those 4 platforms in our protocol. And the great thing is, I can create a protocol. You can. 15 other people can. We don't all need to have the same protocol necessarily. We needed, for change, we needed Malcolm X, we needed Martin Luther King, and we needed Mary McLeod Bethune. We needed them all. We got kind of wrapped up in the Martin or Malcolm. We needed them both. We needed all 3. We needed Martin, Malcolm, and Mary McLeod Bethune. We needed them all. We needed all different approaches. When you're not a monolithic organization, you need multiple approaches. We need multiple approaches. So, get with your folk. Start making a protocol. So, after the rallies, after the protests, after the marches, we have the remaining activities which are part of our protocol. Time to get on code. It's time to get on code. Others who thought that some of our demands were crazy are now changing their minds. Time to get on code. Time to get on code. It's time. Develop your protocol, share your protocol, get people to follow your protocol. We'll do the same. Our various protocols will give us the strategies needed. Our various protocols will give us the strategies needed. Stay on code, get on code, stay fly.
Stay fly, 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 stay fly.
The views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree. Unless explicitly stated.
Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
Stay conscious.
Stay fly.